dancing 24/7 and secrets and dancing and secrets every day. So Mashiach. And it was a simcha which was unbelievable, the way the people reacted. And the Rebbe really didn't put a stop to it, even though it was mamish and common to the Rabbi, until I started with Teves, when the Rebbe said to Shloshim Yev, before you shvat, there has to be a test. And that the Rebbe said, Muhammad gegen den alten Rebbe, gegen den mittleren Rebbe, gegen den Tzemach Tzedek, gegen den Rebbe Marash, gegen den Rebbe Rashab, and gegen den Rebbe the Shver. And then when he finished that, he threw the napkin on the table. So even though you could look at it in Das Tachten and say, what's going on over here? It's a simple inheritance case. That happened before by the Rabbi, also, by the way, similar stories. So what's the big deal? But we see from the Rebbe and Ein Lano Ela Divrei Ben Amram, because we have the Sikha of Hey Teves itself. I'm not sure if it was that Sikha where the Rebbe said the Maisa with the Gzeira or active. He said it on Hey Teves itself. We'll soon say what the Rebbe said himself. And the Aki will say right now, the Rebbe said, Taka, you have to start with the Rebbe. Okay. So number one is that in Das Tachten, if we look at Fleische with eyes of an Amoretz, so then we look at it and we say, what's the big issue? It's a simple inheritance case, and there's Yorshim, and they're having a din Torah, machlokes, what to do about it. But obviously, like the Tzemach Tzedek says in Amonos Elokus, the famous words which apply to everything in life, many things in life, tzorech lahavshit es advarim migash miyuson. We have to look at it with hecher eigin. We have to look at it and see it through the Rebbe's lens, that this was something else entirely. And the Rebbe himself said, Taka, that similar to the story of Yutes Kislev, Mamish, the Rebbe compared it to the mice of Yutes Kislev. He didn't compare it to the different stories that happened in the previous generation. He went back straight to the original mice of Yutes Kislev, that's similar to Yutes Kislev. The Friedrich Rebbe says that this was that Vigda went against the Alter Rebbe. It has nothing to do with the Misnagdim, Sagzerim or Maila, that the Alter Rebbe is going on Mesilas Nefesh to be Meifetz Primius HaTorah and Sosen Deraisa, and there's a Gzeira, that there's a Kapeda that we can Sosen Deraisa come in Begilui, maybe Sosen Deraisa has to say Sosen, has to say Primius, and the Alter Rebbe went on Mesilas Nefesh, and it was Magia, through his Mesilas Nefesh, he reaches Atzmos, V'achich Yorad Rabbeinu, V'himshech Etzem HaTorah, so he was able to accomplish that thing, to take the Sosen Deraisa and bring it to the Gilui. But the Friedrich Rebbe says in L'Kutei Diburim that it's Heipzichon from Gzeira L'Mayla. That's what we have to realize. That's the focus, and then we have to fight against that Gzeira Beruchnius. Like everything starts from Avodah Pnimius, and then things work out. So the Rebbe said, when he gave to Hey Teves, that there's a Gzeira as nicht active. That the activities of Lubavitch, of Chabad, are not strong enough, not powerful enough. Kilu, it's over. Kilu Rachman al-Islan, and this is really what the Gzeira is about. That al derech, what the Rebbe said about a certain person that said Nishtach Teres Abal Shem Tov, Rachman al-Islan, there could be a matzav after many, many years of Nesias and many, many years of Chabad Lubavitch, as nicht active. We're not active enough. And that shows that it's not emes, because there could be a diminishing, there could be a lessening. And that's the Gzeira. And therefore we have to take out of it is fakert, that we have to, adrabah, intensify, become stronger v'chulu. And that taka was the teichen of the Sikha of Hey Teves, Tafshin Mem Zayin, which is mainly connected to today's Shir Tanya, by the way, where the Rebbe brought out the point, one of the points, what the Rebbe brought out was, fakert, you need the Tzerech Aliyah, that through the Ganze Maisa, like Yosef told his brothers, that it was the Eibush that had sent me over here in order to make an Aliyah that I should be able to, so the same thing over here, that the whole story of Hey Teves was in order to become more powerful, stronger, and you read the Tzerech Aliyah. And in this, in today's Shir Tanya, the Alter Rebbe says the immortal words, Meidik, Hoyel Val Yidei Zeh, And there's a famous Sikha of the Rebbe in Chelik Zayin Achrei, where the Rebbe explains that it's a machlokes. What's pshat's doinus naslik izoch is? Does it mean taka that it's mamish doinus naslik izoch? It's counted as mitzvahs. And the Rebbe says that Al Rebbe and pshat, yes, it means doinus naslik izoch is kipshutei. They become transformed. And the Rebbe goes into a machlokes and nigla. Not everyone goes with the sheet of the Al Rebbe, but Al Rebbe and pshat that it's doinus naslik izoch is mamish, the nitzutz. And the Rebbe explains it up in Igla mitzadingen of hechsher mitzvah, which means that if there is a situation where the only way we can get to the prophet, the only way we can get to the gain is through going through the experience. So a hechsher mitzvah is nechshav k'mitzvah. So then it's mamish that the thing itself becomes transformed, and that's pshat. Hoil val yedei zeh bo la'aver abazu. What does it mean over there in Tanya that a tzaddik, the makom shabal tshuva in the tzaddikim gemurim en yichem lamed? Why? Because the Baal Tshuva is a phenomena. He's a phenomena which the tzaddik cannot experience, even if he wanted to. Why? Because he didn't go through that experience of the Baal Tshuva. That's what the Rebbe says. Because only the Baal Tshuva was an azam makom chayshech, that he transformed that makom chayshech, and now we're looking at him and we're seeing him that he has an aver rabba, that it's tzaddik gomer does not have that aver rabba, only this Baal Tshuva has it, and the only way he's able to come to that aver rabba is because hoyel val yidei zeh bo la'aver rabba zu. It's because he went through that experience. So the same thing, this is a lesson in life. Sometimes we go through experiences, and we have to realize that the Eibush is putting us in such a matzav, because that's the only way we're going to come to this experience that we're meant to come to. And that's how we learn the lesson from the experience. And that's how we show Megala what the Pnimis HaKavana behind the whole Maisa was. And that's what the Rebbe was saying, look up at the story of Teves. Now, the truth is, by the way, Nachazach, we have to point out, and we'll say L'chaim, is the first year when it happened, was a Farbrengen Vayichin Tov Shemem Zayin. I don't know. I don't know if anybody knows what's going on over there. The Rebbe made it killer that you shouldn't talk about it, you shouldn't stir about it. It was a Metzias the head. He brought the mashal from the Medrash with the drop of blood. It was not a Metzias to start with. And I remember during the court case, everybody had the transcripts. People were collecting it and they were reading it, and the kochen in the court case, either Wezel came to the court and Louis Jacobs, and people were kochen in every single transcript, and it cost money to make copies of it. People had boxes of the transcripts. Anyways, then the Rebbe spoke this Sikha after he Teves and brought this Medrash, and he made it kilu. No one should talk about it. No one should koch about it, and like that's it. Now, b'shas that happened, I thought to myself, because it's a painful story. The price was steep. Two sisters shouldn't be talking to each other. Rebbe Tzanchano was not buried in the oil. Whatever. There's a lot to talk about. That's mamish shreklach, the Mesilas Nefesh of the Rebbe and everyone, to be able to win this case. So there's pain. There's pain. So therefore, better not to talk about it. And so that's it. So after that Shabbos, people took all the transcripts. They threw it out. They dumped it in the garbage. Because the Rebbe said you shouldn't talk about it, you shouldn't. Anyways, next year, the Shana Haba, like it says about Chanukah, Tov Shemem Ches, the Rebbe says it's a yontif. It's a Dim Skula, you should buy Svarim, and he comes out with this ganze Maisa. So from them I'll invite it. We see from the Rebbe, Minna Kotza La Kotza, for 1 year everyone thought that it's not going to be a simcha, we're not going to talk about it. It was painful. That was one approach. The next year, Lashana Haba Kavuyim, the Rebbe said it's a Yom Skula, and you should buy Svarim, and you should make a big deal. So Das Alein is an idea that we have to be mamish b'simcha, and l'chaim, it should be the Dan Notzach and all in Yonim, and anybody who's in a situation where he needs it, the Dan Notzach should experience it, the Dan Notzach, and he should see how was he needed to the Chaliyah, Hoyel Vayidei Zeh. Through this, he came stronger, deeper, higher, better. L'chaim, l'chaim. Allah sallallahu, Allah sallallahu, Allah sallallahu, Allah sallallahu, Allah sallallahu, Allah sallallahu.
Everything we say is coming on the air. Daniel's Megala can say this.
I'm going to be Megala. I know what happened. I know what happened. Mendel. Stop it.
I'm a Isa.
Chaim. Oh, Chaim. So sein die dann noch sich in alle Unionen betäuben und wieder bei der Gut. Stam, I discovered something today. It's not mamish related to the Unionen of the Danotza, but I think it's a Rabbi Chaim, so I think it's very important to bring it out. I always had a shaila. This is an Abalaturn that I saw mamish today in Parshas Vayechi. There's a teichen that is repeated, Sayin Vayigash and Sayin Vayechi, that Yosef tells his brothers that it wasn't you that did anything wrong to me, it was the Eibush that sent me on a shlichus. Everyone knows the Alter Rebbe say Peri Gid Beis, Mamish Hafloy and the Floys Meteresecha. It's unbelievable. The Alter Rebbe says over there, Lumid Mi Yosef and Mechel, you have to learn from Yosef and not to take anything personal, and to realize it's all from Hashem and it's therefore it's good. And the Rebbe spoke about this Chumash on Teves. And really, it's the lesson that we shouldn't think of a Pliny ben Pliny who caused all the tzaras. The Rebbe didn't touch it up, but that's what it means. Just like the Alter Rebbe, in Igeres HaKodesh in the Beis, he said we shouldn't mock them, snag them, and taunt them. But Adrabah, fakert, we have to be humbled. And on Perek Bey, in Igeres HaKodesh, the Alter Rebbe doesn't speak about how we saw the good from it. But I'm saying similarly over here, what's the Rebbe's reaction after Teves? That it was all for the good, so that we should become stronger and more powerful, and we have to depersonalize. And Mamish, he brought this whole Nekuda that Yosef told his brothers. Now it's repeated again in this week's Parsha, and the Pasuk says over there, Pasuk Tes Vav, in the end of the Parsha, Vayiru Acha Yosef Kimeis Aviyem, Vayemnu Lu Yistameinu Yosef. They thought now, the fact that Yosef told it to them last week, so they figured it's because the father was alive. So therefore, Kolzman, the father's alive, Yosef's not going to take revenge. We see Rahman al-Than, a lot of families where there's a will, there's a court case. So many times, Rahman al-Than, there's situations where after a parent passes away, Hebtzachon issues, and the father and the mother kept the achdus. So the brothers thought that, who knows, now that Yaakov passed away, now it's going to be different. So even though he already told them last week, don't worry about it. But this week, the Yaakov passed away. He has to reassure them. Anyways, the Baal HaTurim says we have two things. I'm not going to tell you the second thing, but the first thing, Mamish brought out something that I thought about many times. He says, they went to bury Yaakov in Eretz Yisrael. So the ganze Mishpacha is united to the Levaya. Over Yosef al Aboyer sheshlichu boy. They passed by the pit where they threw him in. Ubeirach va'omar baruch shosli nes b'makom hazeh. Yosef made a bracha baruch hamokai baruch shosli nes b'makom hazeh. Amru, so the brother said, Adainu zeich mashasinu loy. That means he still has in his heart, he has this grievance, he remembered what happened. Anyways, that's what the Baal HaTurim says in the first pshat. So I thought to myself, wow, look at this mice over here. I always make a joke that the worst day of Yosef's life was the day he walked out of his father's house, and he met his brothers. They said, shut up. We're going to kill you. What? Me? Yosef Tzaddik, innocent, nice boy, Mamish, the superstar, the Goyen, the Tzaddik, the unbelievable person. Be quiet, get into the pit. The worst, horrible, horrific, terrible day of my life was that day. And then not only that, they spare his life. For what? $5. And they send him, he's a slave now. So then there's Rashi over there that says that he's in the wagon and the Eibush made a nest. Wow. It didn't stink. There wasn't a bad smell. The Eibush made a nest for Yosef Tzaddik. Then instead of it smelling disgusting because of whatever was in the wagon, it smelled beautiful. So here we see the Eibush made a nest for Yosef Tzaddik. Big nest. He's in chains. He's a slave. He was a chassid mekusha to his father, and now he's on his way to who knows what future. And they made him in this. I always thought to myself, maybe the Kazakh. Rashi tells us this because we have to know it's takanes. And we have to see that light that comes through. Even the greatest darkness, when the Eibishter does something for you, you have to give a show of Kodesh Baruch Hu, that it could even be the biggest ness, that even Azam Maim the Matzah from Gzeiris, that has to happen, still the Eibishter does for Yosef HaTzadik, Azam in Zachem, it's called a ness. But here we see even something better. Yosef looks back at this day, and he gives that Sheva Vaidol HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Baruch HaMokum Shosel Ines, B'Mokum Hazeh. Because I thought to myself, I was hit by a car many years ago. And I always thought to myself, the day that I celebrated is the day that I was hit by the car, because the ness is where you hit and how you land. Because mamish, a millimeter inch over here and a millimeter inch over there, Rahman al-Islam. So I always, it was Lamed Sivan. So every year Lamed Sivan, I'd make a l'chaim, thank the Eibishter v'chudr. But so we see this two in Yonim. There's one in you, we have to give a Suda Seidor. When you chayzel le'sana, you speak to the rabbis over here. They'll tell you when you're supposed to make a goymul and when you make a Suda Seidor. But then there's an akuda of Baruch Sha'osel Ines b'Mokum Hazeh. Yosef HaTzadik is making a bracha Sha'osel Ines b'Mokum Hazeh, that his life was spared and he was sold as a slave instead of getting killed. L'chaim, l'chaim. I don't know. For me, this is so inspiring. I must tell you how we have to give a Sheva Dol HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and to see a matzav where the Eibush is doing a nest for you, even though it's a terrible, terrible situation, but it could be much worse. And in Yosef's case, he's looking back and he's saying, where do we see that Yosef made a bracha? In his whole life, did he make a bracha? What was the nest in his life? The nest in his life was that at that minute, there was a gzeira, and it would have been the end of the story, and his life was spared. Even though he went into slavery, he was innocent, he was framed. All his vices that happened after that, the Peil Mamish, Baruch HaMokum Shosel Ines b'Mokum Hazeh. So l'chaim, I think they know it's very important for every one of us. We have to know that we have to look at a situation, l'achar ha'maaseh, whether it's Teves, whether it's difficulties that we went through in life. It's very, very important. Yosef HaTzadik, this is, I don't know how many years later. How many years was Yaakov? 17 and 22 is how much? No, you guys went to Beth Rebecca, no? How much is 17 and 22? 39. So 39 years later, Yosef HaTzadik passed this pit and he made a bracha. Baruch HaMokum Shosel Ines b'Mokum Hazeh. So l'chaim, we should remember everything good that the Eibishter does for us and give a Sheva Dol HaKadosh Baruch Hu and make a bracha. And I once heard from a Chassidish Shir, he said, the more you say thank you to Hashem, the more he gives you opportunities to say thank you. So thank you, Hashem. L'chaim, l'chaim, l'chaim.
Hey, you're here? I was thinking of you.
What do you say about this, Rabbi? The worst day of his life. The worst day of his life.
It's a lot easier to look back when you're showing the vision of it.
Somebody look it up. It's the worst day of his life, and they give him part of the In this case, endlich mit der Leben der Lamata and I'll go for the Lamata and I'll say,
Amen. Chaim.
Many Chassidim say that even though we really can't understand the ganze Meise, but obviously it was also obviously preparing us for the matter that we're in now after Yimul Tammuz. The Isis that the Rebbe spoke on Teves also, by the way, in the Sikha, the Rebbe repeated these words, Chintuch Chantayu, Mazari B'chaim. And then in the Sikha with Beis Tammuz, Toshem Memhei, there were Isis, where you won't find anywhere else, but that's Farbrengen in the last Sikha. And the same thing is Tezvav Tammuz, Toshem Memhei. So there's a couple of words, I wish I knew it Baal Peh, but I wrote it down, I listened to it today. I'm just going to repeat it because we have to mamish chazer rein and drill into ourselves. The Rebbe said, Rachmanu l'tzlan zu sagen, as es schon 35 Jahre, as schon nicht da. Rachmanu l'tzlan to say that it's already 35 years and the Friedrich Rebbe is not around. It says, Punkt der Hepech. It's just the opposite. Das ist a sheker gomor. It's completely false. The emes is Hepech. The truth is the opposite. Und emes la mitte is the ultimate truth. As es schon 35 Jahre, als mit die Schone beschone, wird noch mehr lebendiger und noch mehr starker und noch mehr aktiv zwischen uns und bei uns und durch uns, bei jeder Iden und alle Iden bis in die ganze Welt. That it's already 35 years that every single year he becomes more alive, stronger, more active amongst us and by us and through us to every single Yid and to all Yidden throughout the entire world. So we see from this that it's not only in a Kudah where Hu B'chaim, but the Rebbe is saying that through us, by us being active, Ma'azari B'chaim, Afu B'chaim, there's different aspects to it, but one aspect is Ma'azari B'chaim, if we're continuing doing the work, then that makes the Hu B'chaim stronger. There's also Ma'hu B'chaim, through the fact that the Rebbe is Hu B'chaim Be'etzem, that also pills Zari B'chaim, but it works both ways. So, again, we have to realize, I mean, on the one hand, when you talk about the Rebbe, what did the Rebbe want to accomplish? So you could say it's like the Maisa with the Baditchev, which the Rebbe always chazed his word, that the Baditchev told the Eibishter, if only you would put all the Teves Elam Hazeh in a book and put the Gehenim or Elikus, whatever you want, in front of the person's face, which means that Elikus b'pshitas. What the Rebbe wants to accomplish is that you should look at the world differently, you should live a higher life, and you should, it's Elikus b'pshitas. Now, even though, if you look at Fleish Goyim again, you look at what the Rebbe is saying of it, what do you mean? But you have to understand, it doesn't make a difference the way things are, the way things are with the physical eyes. You have to realize the emes is, this is Alpi Torah, is the Torah reality, Das Torah is Mahavid Metzias. This is the reality. Hu B'chaim. You feel it, you don't feel it, you're living up to it, you're not living up to it, but this is the truth. Hu B'chaim. And mer lebedike, mer active, etc., etc. And if we're not seeing it like that, then it's our problem. It's because we, like the famous Maisa, I forgot who it was, one of the Pele Shikut Yidden, Talmidei Amagad, the Baal Shem Tov, and he said, what did he say? He taps with Fleisch, feels the Fleisch. Similar to the Maisa with the Alter Rebbe looked up in the ceiling and he said, Ich sehe nicht the balcony, I said the Dvar Havaya. I don't see the beams, I see the Dvar Havaya. That's what Alter Rebbe said. But there was another person, the Rebbe has this Maisa, the famous Maisa, somebody told somebody that, I forgot what he told his son. He told his son, I think, that he's not a body anymore. He's not flesh. And the son touched his father and he felt flesh. Ich tap Fleisch, whatever. I feel flesh. So this father told him, the taps mit Fleisch feels the flesh. You're touching with flesh, so therefore you feel flesh. But if you transcend and you go a bit deeper, So then you'll realize that there's something greater going on. So it's not so easy, my friends. It's not so easy sometimes. People are schwerkeit in life. For some people, it's easier to see the Teva and the Vanigla and to be Simcha at all times. For some people, it's more difficult. But that's the whole Aveda Chassidus. The whole Aveda Chassidus is that even if it's difficult, you have to work on yourself, and it's not an easy Aveda. It's not an easy Aveda. For some people, it comes easier. For some people, it comes harder. It's Gabrus Atzura Alachim. That's what the whole Aveda is about. To see the Ruchnius, how the Ruchnius dominates, and to believe that it's Mamish, all Primis Onyonim. That's what's going on over it. Not things that you think it looks like this and looks like that. It has nothing to do with that. This year, Stam, I didn't say this at Berabim, but I told some people in my life, I don't like talking about myself, but I'm just going to say two stories that are mamish amazing that happened to me this past year, where I saw Hu B'chaim. My father passed away 60 Tafshin Chof Beis is how many years ago? That's 63. 7 Chof Beis is 62, Mr. I think I'm 63 years old. Anyway, so he passed away 62 years ago. So somebody sent me from Rabbi Groner's Yuman, from label Groner's Yuman. Somebody sent me on Chof Ov, Tafshin Chof Beis, the following. My father passed away, Yutes Menachem, and somebody sent me Vichnin from Eretz Yisrael, sent me from Groner's diary that was printed now. That Rabbi Groner was in the car with the Rebbe in front of 770, and there was a Levi that was coming to 770. So the Rebbe asked Rabbi Groner if this is Avram Vina, my father. And my father wasn't even a Lubavitcher Chassid, but he lived in Crown Heights. He had some shaykhs to the Rebbe, but the point of the story is that the Rebbe asked Label Groner if this is Avram Vina's Levaya, and the Rebbe was going to the oil because it was Chof Ov. So the Rebbe was outside in front of 770 in his car, ready to go to the oil. But when he asked Label Groner if it's Winner's Levaya, and he told him yes, so the Rebbe stayed there, waited for the Oren to come. The Rebbe got out of the car. Label Groner writes that he didn't follow it like usual, like the regular when he would go to a Levaya, but he stood there and watched. And then it means the Rebbe went back into 770 to wash his hands and do the Ganze Meiser, and then he went into his car to go to the oil. So I never knew this Bechlal, and I found this out, mamish like a couple of months ago. So I'm thinking to myself, wow, either the chizuk that I'm getting from this story, the cook from Atzadik, we can't wissen what the cook from the Rebbe tutuf, and then I find out about it 62 years later. So it's mamish Hu B'chaim that the Rebbe is giving me a message 62 years later of something that happened 62 years ago. And I remind myself of a story. This is one of Yale's most famous stories. He repeated many, many times that in the first year, Tafshin Yud, between Yud and Yud Aleph, before the Rebbe was Makabel and Asiyas, his father wrote to him, to Rabbi Yale, and told him that he should ask the Rebbe for a bracha for a certain person in Eretz Yisrael who needed a refuah shleima. And those days, before the Rebbe was Makabel and Asiyas, you can knock on the door and just walk, you knock on the door, wait for the Rebbe to come to the door, and then you could ask the request. Anyways, the Rebbe knocked on the door. The Rebbe opened the door, and the Rebbe asked Rabbi, and he said, my father asked me to ask for a bracha for a full shleima for this and this person. So the Rebbe says, wie alt is it? The Rebbe asked Rabbi, how old is he? So Rabbi was like shocked, like flustered. He didn't get the question. Like he was like, what? Like, so the Rebbe asked again, wie alt is it? Rabbi still didn't chap what's going on. And this guy was Rabbi's father's age, not Rabbi's age. And then the Rebbe said, the Rebbe hat ihn gesehen? Did the Rebbe see him? Which meant did the Friedrich Rebbe see him when the Friedrich Rebbe went in 1929 to Eretz Yisrael. So how many years is 1920? No, 1929? Yeah. How many years is 1929 to 1950? How many years is that? 21 years. So the Rebbe is telling Yael Khan, the Rebbe hat ihn gesehen? that this chassid in Eretz Yisrael, the Frierdiker Rebbe see him when the Frierdiker Rebbe went to Eretz Yisrael in 1929. So Rabbi Yael said, yeah, I think so. And the Rebbe said, if the Frierdiker Rebbe saw him, that means everything's going to be good. Rabbi Yael kocht in this Meiser very much, and repeated it many, many times. And so that happened with him. And the Rebbe, he would always kocht in them, the Rebbe Talz Gezen, because Rabbi Yael would say this story together with another story, that Rabbi Yael was on the boat with my shver when they came, you know the Meiser, yeah?
No.
They left Sunday morning. Rabbi Yael Khan left Sunday morning with my shver to America. Yud, Aleph, Shvat, Tov, Shin, Yud. They thought they're going to the Frierdiker Rebbe. And there was letters about it. The Frierdiker Rebbe to Eretz Yisrael saying these Bochrim, they should come, etc., etc. And that was Sunday morning. They left to the ship, and the Frierdiker Rebbe had passed away that Shabbos, but they didn't know about it. So they're going to the port, whatever, to go on the ship, and they're going to America. And anyways, I think they found that on the ship. I think Gabriel didn't believe it. Anyways, when they got to 770, they were there for a week or 2 or 3, and Gabriel had a shaila. Maybe they should go back to Eretz Yisrael, because they came for the Frierdiker Rebbe, and now the whole matzav is a different matzav. So what should they do? Anyways, they decided to ask the Rebbe. I think there's a problem. I think they didn't know who to ask. They went to Rabbi Shmuel. I think Rabbi Shmuel said ask the Ramash. Anyway, so they asked the Rebbe. The Rebbe asked the Rebbe, what should they do? Should they go back to Eretz Yisrael? And the Rebbe answered, the Rebbe the Shver said you should stay. Eretz Shem Forges and Alts Zayin. He saw everything that was going to happen. So Mustam hat nicht gemeint for a paar Wochen. He probably did not mean he should just come here for a couple of weeks. So Rabbi Yael also kocht in this Meiser, saying the Kudah that the cook from Atzadik, if the Frierdiker Rebbe said, and he said what he said, that means that he saw everything from far ois. He saw everything that's going to happen, and therefore he said what should be done, and that applies forever and ever. So l'chaim, we have to know.
What's the second story?
The second story is, around a month ago, my twin brother tells me that he was going through my mother's things, and he found an envelope that says, Geld from the Rebbe, for the Obshenish, from Yaakov Yune. So he found an envelope, and in this envelope is a silver dollar that the Rebbe gave me for my Obshenish. Now, what happened? I don't know. If I was there, if I was there personally, but this is what it says in the envelope, that the Rebbe gave me a silver dollar from Obshenish. I don't know. I don't think he has his. A couple of weeks ago, I was feeling very schwach. I told my brother, please take the coin in your hand and say I should have a first name. Whatever. Anyways, they didn't mean to tzach up. So I'm just telling you again, the Rebbe has achmanas on me. He knows that I could be depressed or whatever. So he sends simonim. He sends a sign that we didn't forget about you. And thus the Meiser, last week's parasha, Yosef HaTzadik says, Ha'oid ovichoi, is my father alive? And there's a whole sikh with the Rebbe in Kuti Sikhs. Yosef asks, the Kash, all the Mefarshim ask, what says Yosef HaTzadik asked if my father's alive? He knew already he's alive. The brothers told him already. What's fact if he's alive? So the Rebbe gives a whole answer. But I think there's a nukuda over here that it's a statement about Yosef HaTzadik. As nish masir das. What's his whole mahus? That he acts, ha'id avichai. And this is what we have to know when we get to Teves. And it's a skashrus that you're not going to be masir das for a second. Somebody wakes you up in the middle of the night. Johnson, how you doing? Ha'id avichai. See, the Rebbe left him here. The Rebbe left, das ist nicht over zu reden. Hu b'chayim, there's nothing to talk about. But the question is, see, the Rebbe left in there. Ha'oid avichoi. Am I making the Rebbe more active? That's what he says, zwischen uns und durch uns. That in every single one of us, 24 seconds, we shouldn't be masir das. With the Rebbe's boys, that's the whole era of Teves. Ha'ida v'choy. That's a knee-jerk reaction, automatic, that every person asks himself. Ha'oid avichoy, ha'oid Rebbe choy. Is the Rebbe still alive in me? That's what the Rebbe left and hu b'chayim. That's not a shayla. That's no question about it. It's like saying the Rebbe is with you. The Rebbe loves you. Question is how much you love the Rebbe and how much you're with the Rebbe. So l'chaim, we should see it b'nei basar more and more and more b'teva nideh v'nigla. No more menis v'ikuv on any level for any person in any union of bonei chayim mezoni b'teva nideh v'nigla. It should be dan notzach mamish. And this is the pella that the Rebbe writes about the court case. That this guy should judge it verstanden. It's ich verstehe nicht. You understand? How did he understand that it's not a regular inheritance? And like the Rebbetzin said, that the whole Rebbe belonged to the Chassidim. And the whole Taich of a Rebbe is, as a Hotnish Kemahus, as ein ganze Metzies is ein Zach mit the Chassidim. The whole Indian of a Rebbe is bittel b'Metzies l'gamri. Agili elikus. Total, absolute selflessness. There's no such thing as private property. There's no such thing as a private individual. What is it ever? Who is this Metzies? Bittel b'Metzies l'gamri. L'chaim, l'chaim. And the Goyische judge it verstanden. And they said that the Rebbetzon's words had a big impact on him. L'chaim, l'chaim. Rachmiel Eli ben Bela should have a full shleima taken on mamish to be the dan notzach. He's gesund over every negative thing. L'chaim. Oh, Elokeinu, oh, Avinu, Malkeinu, oh, Yeshienu, v'yigalenu, ay, ay. What do you say? Well, I'm telling you, I didn't know either of these things. The coin is still in America. When I go for the chasna, it's a shambad menor. You know, should I sew it into my kapote and want to wear it on Shabbos?
Cheers, check.
I don't know. By the way, I was looking for the letter that Rebbe sent to my chasna. I lost it. I probably took it to put my chasna with my kids. That's what happened. You put it in your kapote to the chasna, and then, don't take it to the chasna. I don't know. Maybe it's lost for a couple of years. Who knows? Hey, no, I'll live my face. Chaim, and this is the what's the connection between Teves and Chanukah? By the way, this year was Moedik. We had Isser Chag of Chanukah on Friday, Then we had straight into Shabbos. And then we have Hey Teves. Mamash Ein Tog Nach Zeiten, holy days. So there has to be a connection. Rabbi Shnai showed me in the Sikh over there that Tim Chitzmim was the Chever Mafitzi Haskala. I didn't look at it, but if I remember correctly, in that same Sikha, he says a word, I remember it from Lumbez, whatever, that doesn't say anywhere else, and there's no number on it, that the story of Hanukkah happened 100 years after the mice with Talmei HaMelech. They said it over there. Denkst du an mein Wort? Al Kaponim, so what's the connection? Ubezeh Yuvan, what I find so unbelievable, by the way, we're coming to Yeshvat already, people are kochen sich in the new Maimorim. When we talk about Huba Chayim, there's some things that we see since Gimel Tammuz as Taka Geworden Mer active. And I see it in two things. One is in Yeshvat. When we were Bochern, Yeshvat wasn't so big. It was like Alf Nissen, Beis Tammuz, whatever. But now, Yeshvat, the entire Lubavitcher world, the yeshivas, every single yeshiva comes to New York. They have a big asifa of Tamimim. Everybody's learning the two Maimorim that are Tavshin Chafei this year, Tavshin Memei last year was Daled and Mem Daled. Everyone learns the Maimer. The whole Lubavitcher was learning the Maimer for a whole month. When we were Bochern, tonight's going to be a new Maimer. We weren't so kochen sich in the previous Maimorim. So one thing that's geworden starker, mamish is Yudshvat. The other thing, which is half of a fella, is Hayom Yom. You don't understand. When I was a Bocher, they didn't say Hayom Yom in the morning. No one said Hayom Yom. Some people learned Hayom Yom. Some people kocht sich Hayom Yom. The whole Zelikson is kochen sich Hayom Yom for 45 years. But besides for that, you can count on the fingers more. But mention was when you kocht sich Hayom Yom. Now it's Minig Yisrael, after davening in every single shul, they say Hayom Yom. And not only that, it's become starker and starker. It was Shnas HaShmoinim, Label all times making videos, Yosef Katzman's making videos, Zalman Markovich, each guy, Baruch Shapiro is making a voice note in Russian. It doesn't make sense. This was a calendar that was made for 1 year. And if you read, the Rebbe writes, Mein Akdama, I don't know if you ever read this Mein Akdama that the Rebbe wrote for the Sefer Hayom Yom. You don't understand, the whole Hayom Yom is Mamash Eskashas Maisa. And you see how fanatical Lubavitch is, it's murdered, I love it. The Friedrich Rebbe was the one who made Shir Tanya. Why did he make the Shir Tanya in Chitas? Because the Rebbe Rashab said that Yutas Kislev is Rosh Hashanah, Rosh Hashanah of Chassidus. So from the Rosh Hashanah of Chassidus evolved that we do something in Torah, that we mark this Rosh Hashanah L'Chassidus. That's how we started Tanya on Yutas Kislev. So the Friedrich Rebbe says kashus to the Rebbe Rashab, that the Rebbe Rashab said that Yutas Kislev is Rosh Hashanah L'Chassidus in Tavshin Samar Beis. So the Friedrich Rebbe in Tavshin Gimel, how many years is Samar? 40 years later, he decides to make something. He invented Shir Tanya, not like Chumash and Tillim that was said in Klal Yisrael before. So the Friedrich Rebbe invented Shir Tanya to be said every single day to commemorate the Rosh Hashanah L'Chassidus. And the Rebbe, Mitzvah Kashus, made a Luach Hayom Yom, which coincides with this idea of making Shir Tanya so that you know every single day what's the Shir Tanya of that day. So the whole Hayom Yom was really an inyan of a skashus of the Rebbe to the Friedrich Rebbe. And that, the Friedrich Rebbe gebeten. But if you see what the Rebbe wrote from Ein Akdama, the first and foremost thing, the most important reason why there's Hayom Yom is for the Shurim. The second reason is for the Menhagim. And the third reason is the Pizgim that comes to that day. So if you look at it on Piseichel, the Shurim that are for the days don't make sense for Chalal, because it's not Shaykh anymore, because it doesn't fit every single year. For that year, on that day, it said that these were the Shurim, and that's why the Rebbe made the calendar, and that's the main reason he made the calendar, and he says himself that's the main reason why he made it. Check it out. He wrote Hagdama, Mein Hagdama. The second reason, Menhagim. So today we have compilations of Menhagim and Sefer Menhagim that are much more thorough, that are much more comprehensive, and then the third reason was the Chassidish part, or the Teichen that the Rebbe puts for the day. Now, does it make sense that a calendar that was written more than 80 years ago Nicht nur that it's not getting weaker, man lernt das mit noch ein starker Koch. Aktiv, mehr aktiv, starker, größer, besser. People are learning a yom yom and kochen sich a yom yom these days more than they ever kocht sich a yom yom before. So we see clearly, mamish hu b'chaim. It's unbelievable, sheba unbelievable. So one of the neflois m'teresecha sheba neflois m'teresecha is when you look at a yom yom and it's a yom yom that was connected to a date, which the Shas that ever put that a yom yom for that day. It wasn't even a day. It wasn't Hey Teves. Didn't happen till Tashem Em Zayin. And then we look at the Hayom Yom of Hey Teves. What's the Hayom Yom of Hey Teves? That you have the mile of Seichel, and you have the mile of Tmimus. And Tmimus is a Sach Hecha from Seichel. And when Mashiach comes, we're going to see the mile of the Tmimus. So the Teichen of today's Hayom Yom comes from all the Mamorim of Avdi David, Shavuos Tafshem Tzadites. The Maisa of Mashiach comes from David, and David is connected to Yehuda, and that's on the mile of Kabbalah Sale, and Yosef is Limud, and Godel Talmud Shemabel de Maisa, but the Ikka is the Maisa. That's the Nikuda. And when Mashiach comes, we're going to see the mile of Maisa over Talmud. So that's Hey Teves, is the mile from Torah, Limud. So why is that the Yom Yom? But then that's a Takadevot. Then in Yiddishkeit, that's the connection between Chanukah and Hey Teves, and it comes mamish lahemshich zelazeh. What's the whole word of Chanukah? The whole word of Chanukah is Chochma Yevonis, Chochma Bagoyim Tamen, Torah Bagoyim Loy Tamen. Intellect and Seichel is also in the Goyische Welt. Aber Torah Bagoyim Loy Tamen. Now what does that mean? Torah Bagoyim Loy Tamen. So there's many pirushim in it. One of the pirushim is Torah Miloshna Hira. In other words, Chochma Chetzenis doesn't tell you what to do. By the way, this past year, Behemshech, the whole Harvard and Yale and all the Mises was Nizgala Le'ini Koil Mamish, the rot and the disgustingness of Chochma Chetzenis if it doesn't have the right Yisayid. It's the worst, Sheba worst. Rishoyim, Gemurim, Antisemitim, Rishoyim, Ra, Betachas HaShleimus. Because when the Seichel is not meyused of the richtige Yisaidis, it's brought down a Chassidus, Rabbi is the Kocht Chameir the Geword. At the größte Hell and Vehester was ken seine Velakus is Seichel. Seichel Anushi. The Rabbi used to say a word, it's the Modne Meife. It's the Chabad Chassidus. Chabad is the Chochma B'Vedaf. Was is gefilmt in andere Tvorim, but then I'm a vackle Metziat from Seichel, being Chassidus Chabad. You're not going to find in any other Tvorim that knock the idea of human intellect like in Chassidus Chabad. Anyways, so we see it b'muchash that when the Seichel doesn't have the right Yisaidis, it becomes the most crooked, warped, perverted thing you could imagine. And that's what the Rebbe spoke all the time at the hero of the Holocaust, that if you have knowledge without character, without morals, garnish wert. The whole word of chinuch is that the Yisoid is based on was is Yokshe, Tzedek, and Stan Eibishtav the Welt. So Chochma Bagoyim Tamen, they have brains, they have intellect. The Yevonim, the Greeks and the Assyrians, they have poets, they have artists, they have, I don't know what they have. But Torah Bagoyim Eine Tamen. They don't have a guide for life. They don't have anything that tells them that's poil on the person. As Over Nandish. And das is Torah. So da kommt Hey Teves. The Dan Notzach from the Svarim. You have to know that the Dan Notzach from the Svarim meant that the Svarim darf ein Poil sein. Darf learn the Svarim, even though there's a Mitzvah by some of the Svarim, which is a separate Mitzvah, the Mitzvah Torah. So buy a Sefer even if you never learn it. But nevertheless, the Kavanah you should learn it. And the word is, you should look in Teresa Yim and understand that the whole learning has to bring you to Bittul, to do what the Eibishter wants. And the mile of the person that does what the Eibishter wants is asach hecha from the mile of the person was ken asach learning and lav dafka affects him. Yehuda is hecha from Yosef. And that's what we're going to see when Mashiach comes. And that's why we have the message in today's Ayim Yom, was kommt mamish behemshech to Chanukah, to realize that the ganze thing from Lenin is to be pale in the person. He should be more humble. He should have more humility. I get a ride sometimes from my chauffeur, Uber drivers. And I always say hello, goodbye, whatever. Anyway, so I said hello to somebody recently. He's a driver. He's a very excited guy. He's a geek, nerd, freak. I don't know what you call him. Anyways, he says, and he's so excited. He has his phone next to him. And he says, what do you want to accomplish? So I make a joke, because I always make this joke with my Talmidim. I want to write a book. Actually, I do have a big taiva for Rabbi, Dr. Yaakov Winner. I heard if I send $35 COD to University of Nepetrepetrovsk or Chongchang, I can get mamish doctorate and mitzvah. So I told the guy I want to write a book. He says, you want to write a book? I can take care of it for 1 second. And he has his phone. He's going, yeah, hi. What do you want to write about? I say Jewish philosophy. Okay, while he's driving, he's putting in. And he's so misspelled from this AI. And I look at him, I tell him, it's nothing. It's a garnished with garnished. First I tell him that it's a diamond. It's not even a cockroach. It's not even a fly. It has no life to it. It's an inanimate object. That's the first thing I tell him. The second thing I tell him is we see from Germany that technology, if it doesn't have the right yesod, it's not going to change the world for the better. He's in a spall. He's getting all excited. You don't understand what this machine is going to do. It's going to change the world. I said, I'm sorry, it's not going to change the world at all. Look at the world today. Look how the wars are going on. Sudan, Ukraine, Syria. Look, how did the world change? If you don't have the right, you say this, the technology means nothing. It means absolutely nothing. The knowledge not based on character, not based on the Eibishter, not based on the right morals, means nothing. And Adrabah, you just figure out better ways how to kill each other. Baruch Hashem. Technology means nothing if it doesn't have the right yesod. And he's arguing with me. We're arguing the whole way back and forth. And I'm telling you, I'm sorry, I'm not convinced. I don't see how the world is better. We have water, we have electricity, we have things like that. What is technology? The whole yesod is only in whose hands it is. If it has the right yesod, Torah b'goyim lo yitamen. If they don't have the right yesod, it can only bring, in a certain sense, more destructiveness. There's a ma'aseh that happened with the Rebbe. There's a person, his name was Rabbi Aaron Lichtenstein. He wrote a eulogy of the Rebbe. He was one of the big Rosh Hashivas. He was J.B. Soloveitchik's son-in-law. He was in Eretz Yisrael. He was a big guy and a big Talmud Chacham. He passed away. He wrote something after Gimel Tammuz in Lashon Kodesh, which is moedidik. I wish somebody would translate it in English. But I read it in Lashon Kodesh, and I didn't understand it so much. He's Mishabeach the Rebbe. He goes on for 10 pages, and he has one story there with the Rebbe that happened to him, which is such a moedidik ma'aseh. And he says this is in the early 50s. He was walking in Crown Heights, and he met the Rebbe. You know, a lot of people used to meet the Rebbe on the street, Shabbos. And he met the Rebbe on the street, and the Rebbe asked him, and he said Shalom Aleichem to the Rebbe, and the Rebbe said Shalom Aleichem, and the Rebbe asked him, where do you learn? And he said, Yeshivas, what's it called? Why are you in Lashon Kodesh? Yitzchak Elchanan. He said he learns in Yeshivas Yitzchak Elchanan, which they have the sheet of Torah and Mada, Torah and science. So the Rebbe told him, I want you to remember one thing. The Rebbe told him, I want you to remember one thing. And that's the Mishnah that says, Kol mi shechachmosoi koidemes liyirosoi so ein chachmosoi miskayemes. Kol mi sheyirosoi koidemes lechachmosoi chachmosoi miskayemes. The Rebbe told him that if your Yiras Shamayim comes before your wisdom, then your wisdom is sustained. That's the word. But v'chol mi shechachmosoi koidemes liyirosoi, the chachmasa is not miskayemes. So that's the moedidik word over here, that if you don't have the Kabbalah sale, if you don't have the right yesod, then the whole chachma becomes a seichel meshubash. It becomes crooked, it becomes twisted, it becomes warped. It's not chachma anymore. But if it's yirosei kedemes the chachmasai, then chachmasai miskayemes. Then we get benefit from the chachma. And he says in this article that the Rebbe's words were like his foundation for the rest of his life, and it kept him on the straight and narrow path that whatever he learned from secular studies didn't affect him in a negative way. So this we have to remember, and this is Bechlal, Stam. We're talking Zwischen sich. I say this, and I hope no one. I believe we are very, very secularized. Rabbi Eliezer Cohen has heard this from me already. I believe we are very secularized, in the Egin Dalamas. And I feel like the famous joke where one guy turns to the other and he says, everyone is already Meshuggah, except me and you. And about you, I have my doubts from time to time. So by the way, I just heard a Maaseh from my brother. Oh yeah, I'm not going to say it well now. I just heard a Maaseh and was from Rabbi that I didn't hear from Rabbi that my brother just told me. I called him when I was in New York, Rosh Hashanah time, and he told me a Maaseh. The Maaseh was like this. Was when you turn in the olden days when there was a Meshuggah, you had the shtot. Every shtot has a Meshuggah. That's another Maaseh, yeah? The Maaseh with the Reb Marash. We're going Me'inyan, boys Inyan. Okay, so first we'll say the Maaseh with the Reb Marash. The Reb Marash, he was a Meshuggah in Lubavitch. Every shtot has to have a shtot Meshuggah. So somebody told him, what do you hang around with Lubavitch for? You're not going to make a big living being the Meshuggah in Lubavitch. It's a small village, a land of chickens and goats. It's a tiny village. You have to go to a big city, and over there you'll be a Meshuggah. It's good for business. So he thought to himself, yeah, it's a good question. I don't know if I should stay in Lubavitch. So I have to ask the Rebbe what to do. Should I leave Lubavitch or not? Anyways, he went to the Gaboyim, mosquitoes, to try to get Yechidus to Rebbe Marash. So they didn't want to let him go see the Rebbe Marash. Anyway, so he devised a plan. He found out when the Rebbe Marash goes with his wagon, and he went into a tree, which is on the route of where the Rebbe Marash would go with the wagon. And he waited for the wagon to go park there. He jumped onto the wagon, into the car with the Rebbe Marash, and he asked the Rebbe Marash whether he should leave Lubavitch. And the Rebbe Marash told him, no, every city has to have one. We need you in Lubavitch. Anyway, so somebody went over to him. He told the person what the Rebbe Marash told him. He gave over Chazaret. What happened to him? That he went to the wagon, he met the Rebbe Marash, and he asked the Rebbe Marash, should he leave or not? And the Rebbe Marash told him to stay, so he stayed, even though it doesn't look like it's as profitable. So the guy told him, you listen to what the Rebbe said? He said, Meshuggah, or B'seichel darf man haben. He says, Meshuggah, crazy, but you have to have some brains. If the Rebbe tells you to stay, you have to stay. Some people learn pshat that Meshuggah, B'seichel darf man haben, was the fact that he knew that he has to ask the Rebbe. Even though Meshuggah, but he has to ask the Rebbe what to do. So the other Maaseh that I heard was, this is some of words, that in the old days, what did they do with the Meshuggah? So now we have institutions, for people that have to be institutionalized. But in those days, they didn't have that. So what did they do? Is to tie the person to a tree, and the guy would so if he was docile, so then no problem. But if he was very wild and violent, they would tie the person to a tree. So there was a certain town where there was not only one Meshuggah, there was like two Meshuggahim, and they tied both of them to a tree. Anyways, what was their activity? All day long, one Meshuggah would look at the whole town and say, the Rav, that's a Meshuggah. Nobody cares about him, nobody's interested in him, and he still stays in his job, Meshuggah. The mayor walked by, I'm Meshuggah. The treasurer walked by, I'm Meshuggah. The principal walked by, I'm Meshuggah. So the ganze Tag, one of the Meshuggahim would talk to the other Meshuggah and tell him everybody else in the ganze Stadt is a Meshuggah. After he's going through it the whole day and telling everybody else, he's telling his friend that everybody's a Meshuggah. So his friend says, ich habe gesagt, dass alle Meshuggahim, aber ich habe nicht Eile. Als sie sind die Meshuggahim und wir sind nicht, warum sind wir zugebunden to the babe? Why are we the ones that are tied to the tree? Sagt er, was verstehst du nicht? Was ist nicht da genug Strick? This is what, there's not enough string. There's not enough rope to tie up everyone else. So the Yale Chazad this marshal, I don't know behemshich to what, but the way I took it was that, somebody is convinced of something, yeah? And then you try to explain it to him, you go weiter, and he just doubles down. He doubles down. How many people's minds have you changed their opinion? In life, I have eight to you in general. Don't try to change people's minds. They don't like to change their mind. They just say, I disagree with you. Stay with your disagreement. You have a free choice, no problem. Goes back with the other famous Chalm joke. We're going Inyan by Inyan, but this one I love very, very much. Where the guy gets off in Chalm and he meets somebody and the guy goes, Baruch, what happened to you? You used to weigh 300 pounds, now you weigh 200 pounds. But Baruch, you used to have a bushy beard, now you lost everything. But Baruch, you used to have a brown beard, now it's green. Whatever. So the orange, red. But Baruch. But my name's not Baruch. Wait, the matzah's so bad, you change your name also? So, yeah, that's the way some people think. And it's not going to make a difference whatever you tell them. How do we get to this whole thing? We started with the secular. So l'chaim, the Nekudah is, it's now 9:15.
Yeah.
We're Farbrengen till 10. Where's Meir Leshes?
No, Farbrengen till 9. Oh.
What happened to 11? No. Anyways, there's a word, I told this to Rabbi Schneier already once before, and I don't know why the Rebbe tzich nicht gekocht and then B'chlal, this is a Nekudah. There are some things the Rebbe didn't talk about. So if I was a real bittul dike yid, you'd say, if the Rebbe didn't talk about it, so you don't talk about it in a way. But I don't think that was the Rebbe's mahalach. I think the Rebbe's mahalach is ten l'chacham v'yech kamayit. He wanted you to make a shton about something, even if not necessarily he did. So at the end of Parshas Vayelech, in Dvarim, Moshe Rabbeinu says in Pasuk Chav Tes, Ki yadaiti achei moisi, ki hashches tachshison. That after I'm going to pass away, there's going to be destruction. You're going to mess up. Rashi says over here something which is so unbelievable as to draw out from us a whole different sort of hegish. Rashi says, "Vayikol yemei Yeshua lo yishchisu." Shenema vayavdu Yisrael Hashem kol yemei Yeshua. So while Yeshua was alive, the Taka did not do anything bad. But what does Moshe say? Moshe says, "Ki yadaiti achei moisi." After I pass away. L'chayra, it didn't happen after he passed away. It happened much later, after Yeshua passed away. And Rashi says, "Mikan shetalmidei shel odom chovev olav kegufei shekol zman sheyeshua chai hoyanira leMoshe ki'ilu hu chai." So why is this so important? Because there's a certain nekudah we don't talk about it. And this is what I mean, like I'm secularized. Ma'azari b'chayim, mafu b'chayim. But I want to tell you something. Your son is lav dafka your Talmud, whether you like it or not. It's a different geder, it's etzem, beautiful l'chayim l'chayim. Every single one of us has children, and they have a skashros atzmis, built-in mekbelas, and they should all bring us lots of nachas and chesidish nachas b'teva and nivanikla l'chayim. But he's not your Talmud. And when is he your Talmud? He's your Talmud if he knows every single thing of your Teves, if he knows your Chidushim, if he knows your Shirim. Yossi Gordon is a Talmud of his father. He knows every single story. Whenever he Farbrengens, he's going to chazer about word was it gehört from Taten. Das is a Talmud. In the Gemara, when you have a Talmud, or even in modern days, you have people that say they're a Talmud of JB or whatever it is, or Talmidim of Rabbi Yael, or Melech Tzibur, you have to know his Teres. You have to know his Chochmas. In the Gemara, when you have a Talmidei Shammai and Hillel, you're not a Talmud unless you kotzach in the Torah of the Rebbe. If you don't go, if you start a speech and you don't say that it's Parshas Vayechi, and with Avlad mit the Zeit, and what is the connection? You're not a Talmud. That's not. If you're a Talmud, you do the things the way the Rebbe did it, and you know the Yesodis. What are the Yesodis of the Rebbe's Rashi is? What are the Yesodis of the Rebbe's Maimor Melukit? What are the Chidushim of the Rebbe? What are the Chidushim of the Rebbe that were not until the Rebbe, that after the Rebbe, they Rashi accomplished, that the Alter Rebbe didn't accomplish. That's Pshat your Talmud. So it makes you have a different schayvus. If you're a child, even if you don't know every single word that your father says, you're still a child. That's it, no problem. And when that doesn't, we're never going to take that away from you. And it's a Maila Atzmis, and that's one darga, and it's very beautiful, and it's very great. But we have to be Talmidim from Rebbe. And that's what it means over here, that the Lashon Mikan shel Talmidei shel Adam, Talmidei shel Adam, Chavavol Kigufei. And that's why with the Rebbe, the whole idea of learning the Friedrich Rebbe's Torah, and the Hayom Yom of Chavdalad Sivan, and Tes Oder, it's always about learning the Friedrich Rebbe's Maimorim, the Friedrich Rebbe's, And by the way, Tak, it's also the famous Balaturim, Benafshei Kshura Benafshei. That's when we get to Yaakov and Binyamin, even though it's also with Yosef and Yaakov. Can move on. What did the Balaturim say? Benafshei Kshura is the Gematria of Torah, 611. The Gematria of Kshura and the Gematria of Torah is the same Gematria. So Benafshei Kshura, what's the realest kashas? Are they limited also? I sometimes tell my Talmidim, someone's going to walk over and say, tell me your top 10 sikhs of the Rebbe. Every sikh is da. What's the most geschmack of my meal? Every man is geschmack. How can you see me? That means you don't know anything. There's a Maimer of the Rebbe, Takle Maimer, B'chokesai. I don't know which year it was, Mem Gimel Mem Dal, I was there. And the Rebbe started off the Maimer, and the Rebbe said that this is the geschmack of Maimer. In the Maimer, the Rebbe said a Maimer on the middle of the Rebbe, I think it was. And the Rebbe said, it's a Maimer Nifla. By the way, there's a Maimer that Tzemach Tzedek says about the Alter Rebbe. Yeah. Omavriya, the Maimer Nechmad, V'noi Moed V'chulu. But here the Rebbe said that this is the Gishmak of Maimer, and the Rebbe said in the Maimer, how could I say that this Maimer is Gishmak? Everything is Gishmak. But the Rebbe said no, because since the whole Tachlis of Chassidus is V'aftas Hashem L'kecha B'chol D'vavcha, B'shnei Yitzarecha, so therefore you have to know that this is the Gishmak of Maimer for the Rebbe Shabbat. That's what the Rebbe said in the Maimer. So it's the same thing over here. If it comes a parsha, this week's parsha is Parshas Vayichi. The Rebbe's have word. Every single parsha. What does the Rebbe have to say about Parshas Vayichi? You should have at least 5 sikhs that you're living with in this week's parsha. The top 10, the top 5, the top whatever you want it. Because if you don't have that means you're not living with anything between years. But that's the roof. Keep shooting. And that's what you're a Talmud. Bist a Chassid. We're all Chassidim. We're the Rebbe's kinder. We're all the Rebbe's kinder. But the Rebbe wants you to be pumping in your veins Zayin Ravor, Zayin Lachidush. Moshe, by the way, the biggest connection lawyer of Teves and Vayichi is because which is the 2 parshas that Rebbe always says the same word? Parshas Chayesor and Parshas Vayichi. How could it be that Chayesor is called Chayesor after Chayesor passes away? How could Parshas Vayichi be called Vayichi in the parsha where it says that Yaakov, whatever? And the word is Faket. But over here we see that real life has nothing to do with Gashmis. It has to do with Ruchnius. B'chuli. And there's always Achaberos. L'chaim. It has to be V'nafshei Kshura B'nafshei. We have to be able to look at ourselves and ask ourselves, seeing mirrors and Talmidim for Rebbe. Are you a Talmud of the Rebbe? Or are you just a Chassid of the Rebbe? Or are you just a child of the Rebbe? And the only way that you can call yourself a Talmud is if you walk around every single week with 4 or 5 sikhs from the Rebbe, L'kutei sikhs, Avot from Rebbe. This week, what does the Rebbe have to say? What's the Rebbe's main koch in Parshas Vayichi? L'chaim, und das is hu b'chayim. That's what it means, hu b'chayim. Look at this Rashi. You see what Rashi says over here? I don't think you get it. Rashi says, Dafki by Talmidov. And Kolzman, his Talmidov is Chai, he's considered Chai. So you have to know that, in other words, like this. In other words, we have to be told Mazari b'chayim. That's one era. Yeah? That we should know at the Rebbe left and an Ephraim from Mazari b'chayim, Afu b'chayim. But then there's another era that we have to know that Mitzat Talmidov to Tzuchofanini from Hu b'chayim is not Ephraim. You understand what I'm saying? And that's what the Rebbe wants. The Rebbe wants. Listen, I wish I was better at this. Everyone knows the Rebbe's letter. The Rebbe wrote to Shlomo Chaim. Was it to Shlomo Chaim? Was it Shlomo Chaim? The Rebbe wrote a letter before. Yeah, Haytochen, that you're over there. The Rebbe wrote a letter. The Rebbe wrote a letter before Tafshin Yud. It's a you say this letter in life. You know what? I think we're still Farbrengen.
Marriage is 10 o'clock anyway, so no rush.
Okay, good, because we have to say one more thing, which is Mamish Negeh and Ma'aseh B'Peil. Ma'aseh B'Peil. Something's Mamish Negeh and Ma'aseh B'Peil in 2 seconds. But before we get to that, so the Rebbe wrote to Shlomo Chaim that Rachmana litzlan, you're in a city, and there's no traffic, there's no letters coming from that city to the Frierdiker Rebbe. What are you doing over there before? I don't understand. There was another place, another city. There was a Yid on a board, Nishta Philip Sachosid, and he was in a situation in life, and he wrote to the Frierdiker Rebbe, and the Frierdiker Rebbe saved him or helped his matzav. And all of a sudden, this guy was convincing his whole neighborhood and all of his friends that you don't make a move in life without the Rebbe. And that's not even a chassid, not even a Spitz Chabad. And that guy got help with the Frierdiker Rebbe, and he's generating traffic. People are writing letters from that place to the Frierdiker Rebbe. And you, Mr. Chassid, in wherever they were, Paris, with all the Spitz Chabad over there, and what's going on? People are not writing letters to the Rebbe. They don't understand this is so that you don't make, the Rebbe writes in that letter, you have to read that letter, like you don't make a move in your life. That's the Lashon of it. You check it out. The Rebbe writes, you don't make a move in your life without consulting the Rebbe what to do. And how come in your city, people don't know about it? So this is Taka also the Nekuta, what the Rebbe said over there in that Sicher, durch uns to Klal Yisrael, that means that part of our shlichus is to be Makarev Yidin zum Rebbe. There's a mice that's talking about Rabbi Yael. Rabbi Yael used to Farbrengen about Avram Parij, who was a radical chassid. So one of the stories Rabbi Yael used to say was that they once asked Rabbi Yael, they once asked Avram Parij, see the bells of Ruv will give in about Ruach HaKodesh. So he asked Avram Parij, so what do you say? Because the Belzer Ruv was a very big tzaddik taka. Passed away in Tafshin Yud Zayin. He was a holy man. And they were having this discussion whether he's about Ruach HaKodesh. So they went to Avram Parij and asked him, what's hältst du? Hat Ruach HaKodesh? So he said, Ich verstehe nicht Ruach HaKodesh. Ich verstehe nicht Ruach HaKodesh, jetzt nicht. Aber this is the way I'm saying the way Rabbi Yael said to myself. Aber willst du wissen, wer ist a guter Ried? You want to know what's a guter Ried? Because we call a Pelush Rebbe, we call guter Ried. Willst du wissen, wer ist a guter Ried? The Kaprishnitzeh. There was a Rebbe that was called the Kaprishnitzeh. He said, wer ist a guter Ried? The Kaprishnitzeh. For was? Weil schickt zum Rebbe. Ist a guter Ried. Ist Megala Elikut. So he said, the Kapish is a good Yid. Somebody comes to the Kapish, so he says, go to the Rebbe. Das is a good Yid. As Megala Elikut. By the way, there's a video. I'm trying to find it. Rabbi Lipska, please find it for me. I'm not having success. There's a guy who goes by the Rebbe by dollars. I said, Rebbe, give me a bruch. Man, a bruch. Somebody came to the Rebbe by dollars and asked the Rebbe for a bracha that his brachas should work. That's somebody that he has seichel. Anyway, so we see from this chassid as was ist a guter Ried? As mis Megala Elikut. We see from the way the Rebbe wrote about the Frierdiker Rebbe that the Rebbe wants us to bring people closer to the Rebbe. That's part of Hey Teves, Hu B'chaim, Mazare B'chaim, that we have to bring people closer to the Rebbe. And if we read that letter, by the way, that the Rebbe writes to Shlomo Chaim, it's Mitzad Avos Yisrael. Just like you're Makarav Yid to put on tefillin and to keep Torah mitzvahs, and it's all Avos Yisrael. It's the same thing over here. That if you're being Makarav Yid, and we bring them to Rebbe, it's Avos Yisrael. It's for that person's sake. It's for that person's benefit. L'chaim, they should help that we should see Beinei Basa the Rebbe's brachas and the Hu B'chaim, and every single person that needs a bracha in whatever area of his life it should be. B'chol b'nei Yisrael, b'chol makom shehem. We should see nisim gluyim mamish.
Rosh Sedgman asked that you say L'chaim for his relative Jonathan Chaim that's a soldier who's sick.
Yunus Chaim ben Shirav Fushlam ben Chemli Shirav Fushlam.
Amen.
Divanota ay 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 divanota ay ay Where's Mayor Luscious? Chaim, give me a bracha. I should put you in the veil of spices. Amen. Chaim, this gesende von der Rebbe der Mater na go for the Mater na so twach wo igel Chaim. One more thing which is mamish nigeya, which they already for many years it wasn't so mufursim, but Baruch Hashem became mufursim, and I don't know why they don't give it out every single year, but they did it like 5 years ago, 4 years ago, whatever. They come up with a page, a proclamation, things you should do on Hey Teves. So one of the things we've been conveyed that it's for Hey Teves, but I'm telling you, it doesn't have to be the Hey Teves. I'm calling it for Hey Teves because I'm just saying stam. I love the Hayim where for Yud Gimel Kislev and for Chofei Cheshvan and for Beis Kislev, and there's an asterisk. I don't know if they did it in the new Hayim. Like we kochs on Hayim in Yeshiva Gedei Library for 30 years. So me and Rabbi Engel, Rabbi Schneier, we talk about Hayim. So the brown Hayim Kagans, one of the days associated with the Hey Teves celebrations, Chassidim are Gevaldik, the Babbaches, we know how to connect everything with the celebration. And do we say Tachnu? We don't say Tachnu. Chaim Rabbi Engel is going to say we should say Tachnu. Anyways, Al Kaponim, so Tali Behergish. So Al Kaponim, so in the original Hey Teves, I don't know what day of the week it was.
Tuesday. Then Zion?
Yeah.
Tuesday.
So Tuesday is Hey Teves. Wednesday is Vav Teves. Thursday is Zion Teves. When the Rebbe went to the Eil on Wednesday, didn't go Tuesday. Anyways, he went Wednesday to the oil. He came back from the oil, and yesterday we're going there. Wednesday was Vav. He came back and he asked the label, where's Mincha going to be, which I don't understand. As I state the Maisa, that's what happened. And label told him upstairs. And the Rebbe made a face like he would have rather that it should be downstairs. There was Mincha upstairs and Maidev, and the Rebbe started speaking, and they didn't have a microphone there, and they missed the first couple of words. But a Bacha had some kind of micro cassette that was able to chop off right away. Label Gorner was already out the door because they would like leave first, like they open the doors for the Rebbe that was coming, and then they said the Rebbe's talking, and Label Gorner ran back inside, and the Rebbe said that he's going to go to the oil tomorrow. Anyone who didn't give tzedakah connected to the Teves or whatever should give tzedakah, and they should write a pan. I don't know if the Rebbe used the word pan, and he's not going to read it. And they should put the money for tzedakah in a separate envelope, and there should be another envelope where they write a pan. And the Rebbe said an unbelievable lashon. Just write for whatever you want. There was a bacher that I found that I was a dormitory supervisor in Mem Daled, and I saw Mem Zion that time, an Israeli. I said, so what did you write? He said, I wrote 3 words: money small, money medium, and money big. So Al Kaponim, the Rebbe said, don't be bashful. I would love if I kept the copy, but the Rebbe said, don't be embarrassed, write whatever you want. He's not going to read it, you give it to the Friedrich Rebbe. Today, there was a million Lashon over there. Today, anyways, word went out. You could see it on the video. Word went out to the entire world. In those days, there was something called fax machines. And every single shliach who heard about it was mefarsim in the city that the Rebbe said, write whatever you want. The world got the message. The next morning, when the Rebbe went to the oil, the car was packed with bags. And then throughout the day, there was still calls going on the entire day, faxes. They put up more telephones or something. People were calling the offices and sending faxes for pan. And while the Rebbe was in the oil, they kept on sending like a station wagon or whatever with bags to the oil to be deposited in the oil. The Rebbe actually said then that people that are not in New York should go to a Beis HaChaim because it all comes to the same place. Whatever that means. Anyways, Rabbi Yael, I don't remember exactly, but I remember hearing from him. Rabbi Yael said the famous line, Adoth die ganze Meise von Teves, at the ganze Welt weist, Adoth the address. This is the address. Who are you going to call? 770. The whole world recognizes, in other words, an union of Huba Chaim, as das is the address. 770 is the address. For any person who has any problem and needs any Yeshua on any level whatsoever, that's what the Rebbe himself is doing. He's accomplishing that Huba Chaim. But the Rebbe is a chos from the Rebbe. So he's accomplishing that through Hey Teves was Nisgala in a way that was never Nisgala before. There was no other day in the history of the Rebbe's Nesias that so many Bakoshas came to the Friedrich Rebbe direct. Like the Rebbe said that he's not even reading it. It's going straight to the Eibishter through the Friedrich Rebbe. So I'm just saying, we see clearly from that this is Taka, one of the heroes. So first of all, L'chaim, I give you a bracha. I didn't do it yet, and no. Sheif will be B'Hashemim that I should write to the Rebbe Mitzvah within the next 48 hours in Mitzvah Shem. I have to talk to Menachem Stern. He's around there somewhere. I wanted to talk to it. That's what I want to talk about. I have a big Nefesh Bahamas. My Nefesh Bahamas is a genius, It's mamish custom made. I always say that. But I believe mine's a bigger genius than yours. Now I sound like a teenager, adolescent, who thinks that his Yetzer Hara is worse than everyone else's Yetzer Hara in the world. Like he has this special Yetzer Hara. You understand? Levska, you don't have that problem. My Nefesh Bahamas is a super genius custom made. So I always go in right to the Rebbe. The Rebbe knows everything anyways. Menachem Stern writes a duch. Every Sunday he's writing a duch to the Rebbe. Hey Rebbe. I got up this morning, I said, Moidani, I watched Negavasa, and I made a phone call, and I asked somebody, I went to the nursing home to ask him how he's doing. Hello. Is that the kavanah? I'm asking you. I'm not. Chevah, with Farbrengen over here, it's Farbrengen. I don't have anything major to write to the Rebbe. Rabbi Schneier. Hey, Rebbe, guide me. Hello.
You sound like that guy who said, all the sinners are good.
With Farbrengen, I'm as gala to the world. Menachem Stern's Avodas Hashem. He's turning green and yellow. You could suffer. This is our upcoming Shvi'el in Yonim. But he writes to the Rebbe every Sunday. He comes to Yeshiva Gedela. And he writes a duch, and I'm looking at him, what are you writing about? I learned the Maimon, I said Chitas, I said Asher Yotza, what are you writing about? I don't know what you're writing about every Sunday, my life is so boring and monotonous, you have no idea. Seriously, Rebbe, I got up, I gave a krechts, genitz, I yawned, and I yawned again, and I yawned another time. I gave a shir in Yeshiva Gedela to 18 people. 16 of them were sleeping with their head down, and 2 of them were fighting with spitballs, and 1 of them was falling asleep the whole time. And I feel like the story of Manis Friedman, where he gave a shit talk in shul. I forgot how that joke goes. And the guy's going like this. You know the joke. I don't know what happened. The kid said, and the rabbi was so happy. One guy's listening. He goes to me, he listened to my speech. He said, what are you talking about? I was looking at you, I was thinking, I lost a goat. Are you my goat or you're not my goat? It goes back and forth. I forgot the punchline. Then the maskana was just not. Why? Because he's smarter than you. I don't know. Anyways. Okay, so should I write that to the Rebbe? Father, I have sinned. I'm confessing. What should I do? You, Menachem, the floor is yours. What should I write to the Rebbe?
Not as boring as yours, maybe. I wish it was sometimes.
Okay. Oh, this is on video.
It's streaming live. Streaming live.
You can edit
it. Whatever I said about anybody else is not true. It was just a mina milsa dichusa. Now I want to say something minyan stam. This Shabbos, I was walking I was going on Hoffman Street, and I saw somebody, and he was carrying the Erev. And carrying the Erev. Now, I'm not a person that's judging anybody, no problem. Everybody's better than me, no problem. But it bothered me that this guy was carrying the Erev because I held sich from a kusher and a chosid. So I say, it's pasnish for dir. I just told him that, even though he's a bit older than me. He starts giving me an excuse. But, I was thinking to myself, Stam, kennst du lernen ein Beis und Samachvov and Shaykh Vemun and all these good Sachen. But if you're carrying the Erev, you're missing his kashrus. Again, I'm not judging, but then don't talk to me about his kashrus. Because just like a bocher, when we were bochern, Friday morning he came to Chassidus because the Rebbe said there. If Melbourne got an answer from the Rebbe about Erev, so then, whatever, so we said it's kashrus. So then you shouldn't be carrying the Erev. I'm mentioning this only stam because from time to time, I spoke before about we're being secularized. I'm just meretzvischen sich. We have to keep the standard. Me and Yomani, ich bin nicht kein Rov over here. I'm a nobody. I don't tell anybody what to do. I have my man given up the mashpir from the Bochum, so that's my job. So over there, if somebody asks me a question, I have to tell them my opinion, no problem, and that's my job. But I'm just meretzvischen sich. I think Ishus Re'eu, Yom Chazak V'Yazeru, we have to be stark in a standard. Whatever one's standard is, because if there's not going to be people that are strong in the standard just gets lower and lower and lower. And then it becomes cheap. So this guy is walking with, so what you do, you know, everyone's a balaveda, let's say, whatever, what you do behind closed doors, that's one thing. Okay, no one's perfect, Alavai Bendi. But if you, Mr. Pliny Man Pliny, and you're gazed on with the towel stuck and then you're carrying it in the street, so that means that the whole standard goes down, because du hates from the Chassidus and du hates from the Bestadstikel, you know, Koch Chassidus or whatever it is, and you're carrying in the Erev. That means, you know, it starts with that. So, L'chaim, I'm talking to myself, we should be strong with the standard, we should know what the standard is. You know, Rabbi was once Farbrengen here, and he said a good line, I liked it very much. It was about the Erev. I don't know, you know, Jedwab, probably, Rabbi Jedwab would know all about it, Rebbe's answer, with Malcolm Gutnick, with Malcolm Kras. I don't know stuff from Melbourne. I lead a very boring life. Canal. Yeah. My life is very boring. From my house to Yeshiva Gedalah, from Yeshiva Gedalah to my house. Sometimes an excursion to Coles and Safeway. But a chutz from them is very boring. So I'll upon him. So there was a big tumult over here about the Erev. So I was Farbrengen, and he said a good word. And then they got into a discussion about Adas, Rabbi Beck. And he said he doesn't believe that Rabbi Beck would carry in the Erev, whatever. But then he said a Pashto Zach, I want to ask you a question. A chassid is the Flimishus Adin? A state that a chassid is the Flimishus Adin, yeah? So, is it better not to carry in the Erev? Of course. So then what's the shayla? If you say a chassid is the Flimishus Adin, so without the whole answer from the Rebbe, there's no question about it that not carrying is better than carrying. So a chassid is the Flimishus Adin. So if you're a chassid, you don't carry. So I thought that was a very gleiche word and very simple. You know, but what I'm saying is the mahalach. The mahalach has to be, we have to remember, as a chassid is Mishus Adin, we have a certain standard, and we're proud of the standard, you know. And going back to this, just like in the Welt since October 7th, and the ganze word is that the Yiddishkeit is geworden starker by everyone else. Mamish the Nekudas Yahadis stand for something, take a position, take a stand. We have to have the same thing. In our world of Chassidim Anachnu, wir sind Chassidim, das ist was Chassidim tun, and this is it. Shabbos und Wochen, das eine Farbrengen, nicht nur ein Kiddush. Yeah, Michal. This Shabbos is the yahrzeit of my great aunt, Genendel Rachel Bracha Rachel Bas, and she jumped off the ship during the Holocaust. And my great-grandfather was on the same ship. And he was drowning, and she knew how to swim. And she grabbed him, and they went to the shore. And by then he was chalished, and she gave him mouth to mouth. Gila Rina Di Tzavechedva Baruch Hashem Chaim Chaim Chaim. That's the regular Kiddush over here, yeah? It's beautiful, Michal, no? We have to give a Shavah Dola because Baruch Hu for the Nissim, including that nest. But we also have to have Chassidus Farbrengen. I was telling Shalom Mendel the other day. You think when there was a Farbrengen here, Shabbos and Worchim? You think Shalom Mendel with Avram Ber? Your father was such a Tomim, you have no idea. You know, he was a one commercial Tzarech Lias. That's what I say about him. A Tomim, Mamish from Tekriti Mendel. His father, from the ganze Stadt, I'm not joking now, from the ganze Stadt is the einzige, was given a Tomim, the Maisov, straight wie in Yeshiva. You have to go Mivtzoyim, you go Mivtzoyim. Gedaven Bavayde, he was the only guy in Melbourne, was Gedaven Bavayde, Midi Shalom Shabbat, till 1:30 in sein Winkel, Gedaven Mila B'Mila. And that when Chassidus find out, Chassidus, he didn't miss a day Rambam from the first day that the Rebbe came out with the Shir Rambam. He didn't miss a day. So, also with that, Shabbos and Worchim Farbrengens, he used to sit over here every single Shabbos and Worchim, 1:30, 2:30, when everyone else left, he would sit here Farbrengen with Avram, with the Shalom Mendel, yeah? They would get in Australia, they call it banter. It was Lebedik and Freilich. But that's a given. This today, a Bocher in Yeshiva, they don't even know what it means. I said, they know that it's a beautiful Kiddush, but they don't know what it means at Farbrengen. Besitzt und besingt und Nigunim und Meret in Yonim, a Maimer, a Wort, a Sicher, v'chulu, v'chulu. Anyways, we're not going to save the world, but we have to be proud Chassidim, we have to be proud of the standard. Stern, don't give up. Stern is from the... We don't have a Sarah Batonim in Melbourne. We have Batlin Echad. Baruch Hashem, we have to... You know, one time... I don't know if I'm bringing right there. There was one time in Yeshiva Gedela, there was Farbrengen. You know, when I came to Yeshiva Gedela, all matzah with Farbrengen were a certain way from. When I came American style, Farbrengen. So I used to try to leave Yeshiva Gedela before Rabbi Cohn would come, the day after Farbrengen, because in case, you know, say they wouldn't start on time properly, and he would get very upset. Anyway, so one time I was there. It happened more than once. And Rabbi Cohn is in his office, and he's going, and he's learning Gemara. And I say, Rabbi Cohn, you're learning Gemara? Like in the office. He's not in the Zal. Somebody's got to learn around here. So, I'll tell you. It's it. So, Baruch Hashem. This is what Melbourne's about, by the way. We hired somebody to daven. We hired somebody to put on film. We hired somebody to learn Torah. We hired somebody to learn Chassidus. We hired somebody. It's all taken care of. We hired somebody. There's one person learning Torah in our community. L'chaim. So it's all taken care of. We hired somebody. Yeah, it's all good. All well is in the world now. We can all go to sleep because we hired, because Michal Stern is learning Torah. L'chaim. Anyways. What is got failed to do? L'chaim. Hey, yada yada hey, yada Feldman, a revolution. Just a guess. So first of all, everyone should make a achlota. Yossi Lipsker, right to the Rebbe, and Onag Bolus, Mamish, because the Rebbe himself said, "Don't be embarrassed, Rebbe. I'm not asking for millions, billions. We don't speak millions anymore. I love the expression in English: go big or go home. Billions. That's it. Bavli, Yerushalmi. That's it. Shemzachnish. And you know what? You can write to the Rebbe. Michal, it's time to graduate. Al pi heroes keken dus het admor. Am soll sich neshemen. The Rebbe said, "We soll sich neshemen." That was the Rebbe's lashon. You shouldn't be embarrassed. Go for it. You know, whatever. We can repeat the story. This is the Indian by scene, but it's always good to chaz over the Maisa. That happened with Beis Kislev Tafresh Sad Gimel, when this is such a Farbrengen about this story alone the whole night. When the Friedrich Rebbe, I don't know, he called for the Rebbe and he told the Rebbe to kiss him, and the Rebbe was shocked. Where, what, how? I forgot exactly. And then the Rebbe kissed the Friedrich Rebbe like on the cheek or on the forehead. I forgot exactly. The forehead?
He wanted to kiss his hand.
And the Friedrich Rebbe told him to kiss the forehead. By the way, Kemat, nobody knew this story. Some people knew it, but very, very few. I know that. I'm saying before Shemus was printed, Kemat, nobody knew the story. And I believe if this story is widespread, Yud Shvat, Tafshin Yud, we'll get another Maisa. Because this is like Mamish Nitzavah. So the Rebbe made a face like the Friedrich Rebbe. What's this all about? And the Friedrich Rebbe said, last night, my father, the Rebbe Rashab, came to me in the middle of the night. And he said, like, he said, Yitzchak, what's that other phone by sich? Why are you so depressed? Why are you down? It's doch lichtig bei dir in Sturm. Your home is illuminated. So I got up and I saw the moonlight coming through the window. But then I figured, that's not the pshat. I got up and I walked down the hall and there you were learning Torah. So who knows, this could have been like 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning. But that's not the gewalt from the Maisa. The Fiani is Daiti HaShofel. The Rebbe Rashab was telling the Friedrich Rebbe, was da rausgefallen bei sich? The Rebbe is the future. And it's before the Holocaust. But this is what the Friedrich Rebbe is living with. Everything is in the Rebbe's hands. Was da rausgefallen bei sich? By this lichtig. In other words, we have the Rebbe is going to rise the world from the ashes of the Holocaust, from everything that's going to happen. We're going to have Nesidareinu, the Rebbe is going to be the Yeshua. But then after that, at the same time, the Friedrich Rebbe started telling the Rebbe about the Seder Hanachas 4 pairs of tefillin. So the Rebbe wasn't sure, is this a hint? Is this? Are you trying to tell me something over here that means to? So the Rebbe asked the Friedrich Rebbe, means to ados an Indian? Means to ados from mir an Indian? Is this a an Indian for me? And then the Friedrich Rebbe writes, "Fadir is alt an Indian. For you, the sky is not the limit." That's the lashon. The Rebbe Mitzad Bittel has to record everything that happened. So the Rebbe wrote down what the Friedrich Rebbe told him. Fadir is outside Indian. So we have to take it that with the koiches from the Rebbe, by the Misnagdim of the Yiddish Welt, they have a lashon. A Drebishter can make a bezim schießen. The Drebishter can make a broom shoot. A broom can become a rifle. By Chassidim we say, a Rebbe will, can make as a bezim shall schießen. If the Rebbe wants, he can make a broom could shoot. So the Rebbe makes us, we're all Rimler with the Rebbe's bezim. You saw you got an A+ in your degrees and your essays, your professor loves you. It's all the Rebbe's koiches. So,
You're going to down a Meyer after this?
I hope so.
I know the question is, are we making another minute?
Yeah, okay, so 12 minutes all in your hands.
I'm not.
Let's just finish this Nakuda. So what's the Nakuda we're saying over here? First of all, everyone should write to the Rebbe. What was the second point I wanted to bring out? Oi. Onag bolus. Standards. It's your favorite subject. So, okay, shouldn't forget. I wanted to bring out a point. Onak bolus. See the Dan Notzach. Anyways, the Chaim Salam, the Dan Notzach and all in Yonim, and in Yonim Aprimim, in Yonim Aprotim, in Bona Chaim Lezoini, we should see the Dan Notzach. And as they get us, the more we're connected, the more it works. The more we see the Chayes and the Koiches, Mamish Huba Chaim, there's nothing to talk about. It's in Nishdova Sered. So L'chaim, I wanted to bring out something from the Shimas. Okay. Yeah, so Onak Bolus, Altazan Inyan. Okay, anyways, L'chaim. Now soon starts Chones to Yud Shvat. Yeah, okay, L'chaim. He was that Macha Bracha. So we said everyone should write to the Rebbe. Every single person should write to the Rebbe, leave it to Menakal. I'll pay the Rebbe from the Rebbe. The Rebbe himself said himself Shemin, so you can write whatever you want. That's what the Rebbe himself said to do. Just write whatever you want, whatever is bothering you, whatever is on your heart. Just write to the Rebbe Onak Bolus. The Dafskan Shemin. Okay? The Rebbe understands you, the Rebbe feels you, the Rebbe is your friend. And the Rebbe wants things to work out for you, but Teves and the Rebbe Nigla. That's the truth. To be a Keli, you should always say how you're doing something just to make yourself a bigger Keli for the brachas and for the Yeshua to come through. So, and one of the ways to make ourselves a bigger Keli is to try to connect more people to the Rebbe. That's what I was saying before. It's difficult, people in different situations, but we have to think to ourselves how we could bring more people to the Rebbe. One way is through Chazon Torah from the Rebbe, because it's unbelievable how Avot from the Rebbe, is Chayes Lahachis, There's no question about it. Just like Chassidus is Over Chayes Nafshem Nitlan, when you I'll give you an example, Stan, like the Good Chumash, yeah? You think to yourself, there's 3,300 years of Torah scholarship, yeah? Then they come along, now we have the Good Chumash. What's the Rebbe's contribution to Torah, yeah? So let's start with the first page of every parsha, the name of the parsha. And I might say, forget about Rashi Sichis, Chas v'Sholem, there's so much going on, yeah? But just let's start with that simple thing. In Dover Hashem L'chol Nefesh, in the Good Chumash, every single parsha has a page. The first page, name of the parsha. Judaism existed for 3,300 something years. Not one person, Gadol, B'Yisrael, ever explained the name of the parsha and the connection to the whole parsha, the Rebbe's whole Koch. Yibalda, the Sachir from Parsha Zayichi, let's make it the ganze parsha, but the Shach is to the number from the parsha. Now we have to understand how the whole parsha is called Vayichi. So not one person, thought of that before. The Rebbe came along. So that's one contribution of the Rebbe in Torah scholarship. Out of 50 contributions of the Rebbe, I'm saying major ones, this is such an unbelievable contribution. It gives you a Chayes Chodesh straight away for every single person who has a koch, every single parsha. What is the word Vayichim? What is Vayigash? What is Shmois? You understand? It sets you up. The ganze Vach is an andere Vach. And who do we have to thank? The Rebbe. And he shows you the relevance, how it's mamish real, and it applies to your life right now. So that's one way how we can bring people closer to the Rebbe by, anyways, by singing, I might bring up something Rabbi Jedwell won't like this, but I want to bring up because we're talking about standard. There was a Shabbos this year, Rabbi Jedwell was speaking in the main shul, and somebody said, Brich Shmei, while he was talking. They started opening up the urn. Azah chutzpah, azah hell behestah of the kus. Now I remember what I want to talk about. Okay, we're taking a pause for that, Rabbi Jedwab. Let me just. No. Now I remember what I wanted to talk about. I wanted to bring on another point to hear off from Teves, is that I believe that on one level, Pliny ben Pliny thought this is really tension that's going on for 35 years with this Pliny ben Pliny. Yeah? They never believed in the Rebbe, v'chulu. Yeah? So it's a tension that's going on. But he thought that in 1985, the Rebbe's already an old man, so now's the time to make a move. What, the Rebbe's going to make a tumult about it? The Rebbe's going to make a shturim? The Rebbe's going to fight? No way. The Rebbe's already old. The Rebbe's not going to fight. It's not like he's 45 years old. That's what I think. That's my assumption. And my hero that I'm taking is a certain lesson from the Rebbe. Versteht die Chassidus? Ad de Schlile bringt reis etzem mehr wie de Chiyuv. So steht in Chassidus. Mitzvahs Leisa says, connected to Yudke, Mitzvahs say Vavke, as steht in Chassidus. And also the Moshel in Pelik of Zion Tanya, where he says there's Macholim Arevim Mutsukim, the sweet tooth foods, and then there's the what do you call it? Macholim, I forgot the Russian. Akaponim, the Russian is Lahoshavas and Nefesh, the sharp tooth, the smelling salts, the sour flavor, that is the one with Alter Rebbe says Lahoshavas and Nefesh, and like all the Mefarshim of Tanya bring out that the Alter Rebbe is being menamed that Avodas Habeinini is nachach with Avodas Tzadikim, that Lahoshavas and Nefesh from all the Me'elyoy. That Avodah v'Skafi, that's also one of the takings of the Maimorim of Bosser V'Gani, is Avodah v'Skafi, the great tifa from the Avodah v'Sapcha. Tzadikim is the Avodah v'Sapcha, that's the sweet tooth. But the struggle that you're dealing with stuff that's sour and bitter, and that you control yourself, and the Eibishter gets a nachas from that. So I'm saying, we see Al Derech with Shach, that whenever he said something about something, you see the Rebbe's reaction was, when I would be by Farbrengen and the Rebbe would talk about something that he said, it was like, wow, the Rebbe is still roaring like a gibber. She'ein kamoyu v'digmosei. I was there by Farbrengen Bereshis Beis, and the Rebbe said, Azah hell of Esther for Lakusas Kemush Given. Then there was the story, the Sikha of during the Gulf War, and there was the Sikha. I think the Sikha of what's it called? Tilosi Sapir. How's the pasuk start? Amzu Yitzati. I was by that Farbrengen, but I think it also came by something he said. The Sikha, the Apostle of Tefillin, and there was the Sikha where unbelievable. Chills get down my back whenever I remember the Rebbe said, when he went against Rambam, sometimes he says, Eich wird gar nicht schatten. Because Amalek attacks only an Achsholem Acharecha. Aber Eich, and the Rebbe is talking to us by the Farbrengen, and he's saying, we're in Anani Yaakov, and something like that. And I remember the Rebbe saying, Eich wird gar nicht schatten. Like, so, whenever there was something, sometimes I'm a nagit, bring the koyach, hein vuresav, like you never saw before. So I'm saying one of the heroes we have to take for Teves is that sometimes you're in a matzav. Everything has to be b'dak and b'dak yishal, my friends. I'm saying that clearly, but I'm saying inwardly, you have to have koyches, inner strength to stick to the program, to stick to the dark here, Rabbi said in the to stick to Chassidus, and vanish the spol. The Rebbe this was a matzah where it was Mesiras Nefesh Mamish, the whole story of Teves, and we're involved with the v'chulu. And it's such a I don't know the right word for it. It's a bizayin. It's mamash b'zayin. You have a nephew that's causing the biggest tzaddis, an eniku, a chmol al-tzlan, and it's public knowledge. The whole world is talking about it, and it's in a goyish court. But if you have no choice, you have no choice. The principles are more important than everything else. So everything should be b'dak and b'dak shalom. But you yourself, inwardly, You have to be powerful from within. Nicht nispol. Don't be nispol from Melbourne. Don't be nispol from the Tzimtzum of Melbourne. Don't be nispol from the Agbolas of Melbourne. Don't be nispol to tell somebody from Melbourne to his face that Melbourne is Tachten Shein Tachten Matei, and the Rebbe called Melbourne Tachten Shevet Tachtonim. Don't be nispol to say that. And only if you know that Melbourne is Tachten Shevet Tachtonim, then you fulfill the shlichus properly. Then somebody tell you, why do you have to be so negative? The Rebbe said that. And the Sikha of Nesasanim and Mitzrayim, you know that Sikha? Asora Teves Mem Gimel. The Rebbe said, Yaakov told Yosef, you see, this is another example. He told Yosef, hello, I need you to bury me in Eretz Yisrael. And then Yosef says, for sure, hello, you could trust me. No! Your word is not good enough. I need you to make a Shavua. That's what I need you to do. Why? And the Rebbe said in the Sikha, by the way, it's amazing how the Rebbe touched up that even though he says also on a Sasani that he gets an Aliyah because he was a Mitzrayim, on a Sasani because he was a Mitzrayim, but at the same time, you have to hear that Sikha. So you have to cry out, das ist nicht dein Ort, das ist Golus, und ein Yid belangt in Eretz Yisrael. And you have to live with the Nesasanim and Mitzrayim. And only when you live with the Nesasanim and Mitzrayim, you matzleich in the shlichus. So only the person that's then he's matzleich in the shlichus, like the Rebbe explains in all the places, you have to have the rotzi betachlis, then you have the shuv the way it's supposed to be, and that's the right balance. So l'chaim, we have to scream on a Sasani in Melbourne. We're going to the Shalayim with a Kodesh. And this is not the tachlis, my friends. The tachlis is Mashiach, Ad Mosai. And Kolzman, the only reason you're here is because you're on shlichus. You have a shlichus here, you have a shlichus here, you have a shlichus here. Every one of us has a shlichus over here. And the shlichus is mit the gemach. I don't understand these guys, by the way. Every other guy now on YouTube, Rabbi this is talking about Eretz Yisrael. So that's why he went to Timchet Mimim. We need you to talk about the matzah in Eretz Yisrael right now. Chazara Ma'im Chassidus. I was by Farbrengen in Parshas Vayikra, Tavshin Mem or something. It was like 30 years from Tes Oder. And the Rebbe said, the Geist of Mivtzoyim, und der Retz mit jenen wegen in Yonah Elam Haza, und er macht a knack mit the finger. Oh, ist der größte Mensch. You know the latest headlines with Elon Musk and Trump and Obama, and stuff like that. What's going on? Chazara Mai Mercedes. The Rebbe said that line. What are you going in the same for and talking about in Yonah Elam Haza and the knacks with the finger to show you're a Chevra man? You went to Timchet Mimim, Chazara Mai Mercedes. The Rebbe said, kennst du kein Mai Mercedes? Chazara Peirik von der Maimer. Kennst du nicht Peirik von der Maimer? Chazara Porschulis von der Maimer. Aber Chazara wird Chassidus. So l'chaim, everybody over here is on a shlichus, and if every one of us will do the shlichus with simcha, I'm a proud lubab. L'chaim, Baruch Hashem, I'm brainwashed, and I should be more brainwashed. And we have to realize that Teves is a likus, Moshe Gopin, what's going to be? Your name is Moshe Zalman, or B'nai Zalman Moshe, but it has a kesher. L'chaim. We're talking over here about making big plans over here. Okay? You still, you know what your muscle is? You're operating like an American in Australia. No one hops off. Okay, Michal, l'chaim. Alle brachas on Agbolas, for kol b'nei Yisrael, b'chol makom shein, die dan notzach, l'chaim.
You could go all night, because I'm going to stop the live stream, but this is going to go.
No, we have to have Ma'ariv. Die was dach mach bracha achim, mach. The Michal, I have a problem right now. Writing a duch to the Rebbe. Can we talk honestly now? So Farbrengen, you write a duch to the Rebbe? So what should I